Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good, my dear friends. Today is 16th January 2020, and today we don't find any edition of the Hindu newspaper because of a Pongal. So first of all, let me wish all my viewers a very happy Pongal. May God bless you all. So what I have done today, I have gone through some other newspapers and I came across a few important articles. We are going to discuss three articles from Times of India and one is from Live Mint. The first one that we are going to go through is this one. It's about World Economic Forum. It's talking about various different important things that are going on in the world, importance of World Economic Forum. And this article over here, it basically ends with this explanation of importance of a bilateral agreement, that world is becoming or heading towards more bilateral, or world is now a multi-bilateral world. So the place where this article ends, this article starts. This one is about bilateral agreements are more desirable than multilateral deal. And you know, in recent past, India has decided that it will stay away from RCEP. So in your mains examination, you may expect a question asking you why the world is becoming more bilateral, or why multilateral deals are not that good, why we should or India should go ahead with bilateral deals. So from these two articles, we can understand, or we can in fact crack one question of mains examination. That's what I believe. Then we have two editorials. One is about Satya Nadella's statement on CAA, and this one is about living machines. It's about Sinobots. It's an outstanding, you can say, research development. It's an outstanding thing that researchers have achieved. So it's a very new thing. I'm going to take you through it. But before that, I would like to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses. They are available for various different exams, as you can see on your screen. With the help of our pen drive and tablet courses, there are thousands of students out there. They have cracked various different examinations because our pen drive and tablet courses are designed by the best faculties of our nation. You can purchase them. You can find out more about them from StudyIQ.com. If you have any question, queries, doubts regarding it, feel free and give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. If you want to get in touch with me, then you can write it on my FB page. And of course, you can send me a message on FB. And to download the PDF as well, you can follow me on FB. You will get notifications. You can join this Telegram channel. And please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. And don't forget to hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So let's start our discussion with the World Economic Forum. Now, WEF is in news because in few days' time, we will find the 50th anniversary of World Economic, 50th anniversary summit of World Economic Forum. Every year, this meeting takes place at Davos, that is a city of Switzerland. I'm going to take you through Switzerland as well. Of course, the map, we are going to have a bird's eye view. But before that, let me throw some light on World Economic Forum, why it is important. The person that you can see on your screen, I'm not talking about Mr. Trump, I'm talking about this gentleman here. His name is Professor Klaus Schwab. He's the founder as well as executive chairman of World Economic Forum. WEF was established in 1971. And if you go through WEF's website, then you find one thing that is at the very core of World Economic Forum is that this forum, improve the state of the world. It wants to create a positive impact. WEF strives to make this world a better place. And you find this thing in its every year's theme. This year's theme, 2020's theme, is stakeholders for a cohesive and sustainable world. Now, World Economic Forum is a sort of a place where you find it's basically a bridge, or I would say a platform, where you find political leaders, you find business leaders, you find other influential people. They are invited here, and basically this forum and participants or members, or you can say the guests, they talk about the things that are concerning the world. They talk about regional things, they talk about industry agendas, and the core theme, as I told you, is about sustainable development to make this world a better place. Now, we have few threats as well in front of World Economic Forum. Not about the existence of this forum, but about the world. And the biggest change that we have witnessed in recent past is because of this America First vision of Mr. Trump. We are going to talk more about it, but before that, let me quickly take you to Davos, where it is. Here you can see this is Davos here. This is Switzerland on your screen. It's a small nation in Europe, a landlocked country surrounded by Germany on the northern side. Then clockwise you find Liechtenstein, Austria, Italy, France. So these are the countries that are surrounding this country called Switzerland. It's a beautiful place, famous for honeymoon locations. It's famous for tourism, famous for Saint Bernard dogs, as well as it's famous for Alps mountain, and of course Swiss knife and Swiss watches. Bern is its capital. Geneva is a very famous city. Back in 2000 and late 90s, there were so many films of our Indian film stars. You know, they were being shot in this Alps mountain, and so you might have observed like this is a very beautiful place. And Davos again is a ski place. It's famous for skiing. So you find this lead is there, and we'll see some more pictures. I think Deepika Padukone as well. She is invited to attend this summit, this 50th anniversary summit. Now, Mr. Trump's vision, we were talking about America and America First thing. So the way Mr. Trump came in, and after his victory, before that as well, he was quite vocal about protecting the interest of America. And he talked about protecting jobs that are being snatched away by, that's what he said, that jobs are being taken away by immigrants and people coming from different parts of the world. The business is also going out of the US, and this is something that is not acceptable to him. So he came out with this America First vision about protecting the interest of America. And let me tell you one more thing. In diplomatic world, right, there is nothing, as I have told you earlier, that there is nothing like permanent friend and permanent enemy. It's all about national interest. Indian diplomats will pay their highest priority to things that are important for India. Right? Bhutan and India, both of us share a very good relationship. But first of all, we will look after our back, and then we will look after Bhutan. This is how it works in diplomatic world. But here, Mr. Trump came out with a very aggressive protectionist walls, or you can say a few barriers he created. And because of this thing, we saw a fall of many agreements, many cooperation, and if not fall, then we saw many hurdles through which many agreements have gone through, like Paris climate change. Mr. Trump is totally against this thing, and he's going to take out America from this Paris climate change by 2020. Now, at Davos, Mr. Trump will not be very much popular because of his vision, but there are other people who are filling this vacuum, and you won't believe it will be this Xi Jinping, right? Back in 2017 as well, means the place where America is stepping out, China is filling that gap. And Xi Jinping was quite, he talked about globalization. He defended globalization back in 2017. He talked about globalization and the benefits that the world has got from globalization. And WEF itself is a platform that has promoted globalization, that has promoted partnership between various different countries, and it has gone through various different ups and downs, optimism and pessimism. It has gone through the wave of all these things. So WEF is a very important platform, and if we go through the past of WTF, then we find that back in 1988, Greece and Turkey, they had a Davos declaration, and if you go through the history of these two countries, then you find that early on, before 1988, they were at the brink of the war. In 1989, the first ministerial meeting took place between North Korea and South Korea, again because of this WEF. East German Prime Minister and German Chancellor talked about this reunification of Germany at WTF. And as multiple reports highlight, there is currently a potentially toxic cocktail of trade disputes, environmental risks, cyber threats and geopolitical dangers threatening the fundamental fabric of the global political economy, and WEF can play a very important role in this cohesive and sustainable world. What we see today, what we are witnessing at present, is that USA and Russia, they are at their peak. Even during Cold War, things were not that bad. Since this annexation of Crimea by Russia, the relationship of USA and Russia has nosedived. Then we have Israel-Palestinian relationship. Peace process has collapsed again. I'm talking about this part of the world, right? This is, where do you find it? Here, right? This is where you find these two countries. Then you have USA and North Korea. This denuclearization of Korean Peninsula, things are not moving ahead. Since 9/11, USA has increased its presence in Afghanistan, which is here in Middle East, and in recent past what happened between these two countries, USA and Iran. If you are new to this series, then I will reckon you guys, if you want to know more about USA and Iran and things regarding recent past, then I will reckon you guys to go back to 7th January 2019 and go through a few lectures, right? You can quickly scan them, you can quickly scroll them, and you will find important topics that we have discussed about USA and Iran, if you want to know more about the history of these two countries. Now, there are a few positive sides as well. These are the things that are bad or negative, and as I told you, there is a cocktail of trade disputes and other things that are going on, but there are some positive things, like there are people out there, there are countries out there, they have agreed on this Paris Agreement 2015, and there are countries that are taking steps. In fact, China has done very well, India is doing reasonably well, and there are other countries as well. The rise of China is one of the biggest game changers in global affairs. Like, as I told you, the places where USA is creating vacuum or gap, China is filling it with itself and other partners. Washington and Beijing are about to sign a first stage trade deal, and that's a good news for the world. And bilateral relationships are getting more, you can say, weight, or they are getting more important for countries. Multi-bilateral world, that's what we are living in now. It's all about bilateral relations, and bilateral relations give you that flexibility. I'll talk about this thing, like why world is heading towards it, or why it should head towards this thing. We can go through this article here. This is the second one. So we are done with the first one about WEF. Now we'll talk about this thing. Since 1991, the narrative has been created that the policy of free movement of goods, one thing. Second, capital across nations, like attracting investment, and amending IPR laws that will suit investors, is the panacea, or you can say a sort of one-touch solution for all ills regarding developing countries. Like, basically, if you want to increase your economical growth, then what you need to do is allow free movement of goods. This will allow free movement of capital, and you need to amend your IPR laws that will help this, that will suit these investors, and this is how you can convert your developing or least developed country into developing, and later on into a developed nation. But that's not right. If we go through the reality, then we find that free trading in goods, or from tariff and non-tariff freeing trade in goods, like making or removing this tariff and non-tariff barriers from various different products, deindustrialization in many sectors, and manifold increase in import dependence in general has created problems for a country like India. Like, our trade deficit has constantly multiplied. Back in 2000-2001, trade deficit was $6 billion. 2018-19, it is $176 billion. What we should focus is on competitiveness. Are we creating excellent products? Are we creating brands? Are we creating excellent services? Are we creating those sort of things in our country that can find, or that can create its own place? Like, are we creating purple cows? Purple cows means things that can stand out. One thing in which we have, I would say, we are a brand, or recognized as a brand, like yoga is an Indian brand, right? So in the same way, one thing, I won't say it's a product, but if you look at it from economical point of view, then it's a very important ingredient for success, and that is a human resource, right? People from our country, they are working in different parts of the world, and they are doing very well as well. We have so many examples of Indians, at very top of various different big MNCs and organizations. So we have focused on this thing. Then this means we have this thing. This is this human resource or human capital. We have. I'm not saying that each and every one, but we have good amount of human capital. Now, if we have this most important ingredient, that itself means that we too can create those sort of products in our country. And now, regarding RCEP, we were talking about this bilateral and multilateral, bilateral versus multilateral, you can say. So, India has decided that we are not going to join RCEP. RCEP is basically free trade agreement between ASEAN and 6 other countries. Now, India is not going to be part of this thing. So, ASEAN plus 5 is going to be this new RCEP if it culminates. Now, of course, these countries are trying, that are like Japan has also indicated that it's not going to be part of this thing, because what will happen under RCEP is that it will have a tsunami of Chinese products because of this free trade agreement. In free trade agreement, what you do is you gradually or altogether you get rid of this tariffs, import duties on products. So freely a good can, just like our state, right? You can sell a thing that you produce in Maharashtra. You can easily sell it in Arunachal Pradesh because it's part of one country, and we don't have this sort of domestic duties. States, right? They don't implement any sort of import duty from other states if things are coming from different states. So free flow of goods. That's what free trade agreements are all about. Now, we should not forget that in the past, opposition to India-EU FTA was similar. Like, people were against this EU and India free trade agreement. All those points that we see regarding RCEP or against RCEP, like it is going to destroy our. If we join RCEP, then it will destroy our micro, small and medium enterprises. It is not going to be healthy for our farmers, because you have countries like New Zealand, you have countries like Australia. Their dairy products are good in quality. They have this efficiency in production as well. So good quality of milk and other products at a very cheap rate they can supply it to India, and then it can not just milk, right? Other products like you can have paneer, you can have ghee, then cheese and butter and other things. So processing and other things are quite, you can say, developed in New Zealand. So that was a big threat. Dairy products from New Zealand were big threats for Indian farmers if we would have gone ahead with this RCEP. Now, there are some good points about this sort of free trade agreements. When you are doing a free trade agreement with a sort of block, like here you have EU, where you have 27 members. In RCEP, you have 10 members of ASEAN, and excluding India, you have other 5 members. So the good thing is that you will get access to all these 15 countries. And once you have this umbrella agreement, then you can go ahead and you can have more deals with them. This is also possible, but you will not have that flexibility when you are under an umbrella agreement. But if you want flexibility, and why flexibility is important is because today's world is, one thing that is permanent, and that is change. Change is something that is going on and is taking place, but earlier on it used to take. But now the big challenge is that the speed of change has increased drastically. And the thing that you have produced today, like your iPhone 6, was a big thing once upon a time. It was more advanced than the technology that was used to launch a particular satellite, or the things that you find on a satellite. It was more advanced than that. But now it's not that you can say interesting. When I say interesting, I mean to say that there are so many other phones out there. They are smarter, they are more faster, they have more upgraded technology compared to iPhone 6. So in 2 years or maybe 3 years. I'm not sure when it was launched, right? But maybe 3-4 years, maybe. But now you have totally different technologies. Like when I say totally, I mean to say things have moved on incrementally. This incremental change as well. The speed of incremental change is also that fast. So in this fast changing world, we need flexibility, and this MTA, that is multilateral trade agreements and regional trade agreements, they don't provide you that flexibility. Then you have different problems. Various different countries will have their own, profits and losses, or opportunity and threat and things. So multilateral is not that flexible compared to bilateral. Now, if we go through bilateral, what we find is that 72.6% of India's imports are from merely 15 countries. We get out of 100, 72.6% items from 15 countries. And our exports as well, 60.5% of our exports go to just 15 countries. So this indicates that, we have good relation, or this individual countries and the deals that we are doing with individual countries. So this bilateral trade is working very well, and we can increase our trade. We can increase our, or expand our basket, I would say. We can have more bilateral agreements with various different countries. We can identify opportunities. And the problem, or not the problem, but I would say the drawback of multilateral is that it will not allow you to focus this in niche markets. You cannot, if there is a country, like let's say, where India can supply its spices, right? There are many countries that will be looking after India's, or they would ask for India's spices, but there are few recipes in few countries where they prefer Indian spices. Then we can, if we have this bilateral, we can identify it and then we can sell it. So bilateral is more advanced, I would say, and more flexible, as you know why. So trade partners and trade deal and other things should be based on we should promote more. We should have more and more bilateral agreements with various different countries, and this will help our business expansion as well. As far as becoming part of global value chain, there are many countries there are many people, experts, who are saying that if you don't join RCEP, if you don't join this EU FTA, if you don't join other blocks, then you are not going to be part of this global value chain. But that is not right. If you want to become part of this global value chain, then what you need is not FTAs. What you need is ease of doing business. If you create that environment, if you're in our country, right? First of all, let me ask you one question. Can you give me the current ranking of India on this World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report? What is the latest rank of our country? That's the question. Now, if you go through the latest rank, you will find that India has done quite well, and there's no doubt about it. In last 5-6 years, we have we have rocketed our rank. But there are a few things like this World Bank's Ease of Doing Business. It has various different pillars. And one pillar that is very important, and that is enforcement of contract, in which we are not doing that good. So we need to improve those things. There are a few things in which we have done lots and lots of improvements, and because of this thing we have achieved this rank. But if we improve some other areas, then we can increase ease of doing business, actual ease of doing business, and then we can attract more investment. And the more investment we have, the more things that we produce for different parts of the world, the bigger our contribution will be in this global value chain. So what we need now is bilateral deals, win-win deals, right? That will protect our manufacturing, small businesses, as well as agriculture, as well as it will create and add value to the countries who are producing or purchasing things from us. Not producing, we would be producing for them. That's what our idea is. And then those countries who are purchasing things from us, they should benefit from us to our products. So that's everything about this article, right? We have covered two big articles. Now quickly go through this idiom of hope. On your screen you have this gentleman here. His name is Satya Nadella. I'm sure you all know about him. He is CEO of Microsoft. But I'm not sure if you are aware about his failures. He failed to get into high-ranked IIT, and see, today he is Microsoft's CEO. He is a hero for so many aspiring youth. He is, of course, an inspiration, no doubt. And he was born here studied here, and then he migrated to America, and today he is, you know it very well, who he is. So Nadella has said that this Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, it's just bad. That's what he has said. He said that the reason why he is not happy about this thing is because he wants to see a Bangladeshi immigrant, or as a matter of fact any other person from different country, maybe a poor country, coming to India, working here, and then reaching at the top of Infosys or any other Indian company. So he's not saying anything wrong. That's what happened with him. He migrated from India to USA, and he has reached at the very top of the table, and that is good for him and good for other American companies and people of India as well. I would say directly, indirectly, it basically gives a hope. Now the thing is, we have to understand that CAA is, we have talked about CAA, so I'm not going into the details of CAA, and you'll find so many political statements like BJP leader Meenakshi Lekhi has said that if USA is that open, then it should allow Syrian Muslims instead of Yazidis to migrate, and this sort of things we find. And as a matter of fact, Steve Jobs' biological father was a Syrian Muslim immigrant. But we are not going into all those things. We are talking about India here, right? India has always allowed, if you see other countries, they are now talking about being more open, but if you go through the history of India, we have, forget about people, people have always came here in our country, but we have accepted ideas. India has always accepted ideas, and I strongly believe this was one of the main reasons why once upon a time we were known as a golden sparrow. Because of this, our acceptance for various different ideas, religious, political, technological, all ideas were welcomed here in our country. And it's not that after CAA we will not allow any American or any other person from Bangladesh or Pakistan or any other country to enter in our country. Doors are always open, right? We have a proper visa application thing. If you want to come here and do business, then you can apply for a business visa. If you want to come here, stay in India for like say a few months for yoga or for tourism, then you can apply for that. For studies, visas are open, and this is how it works around the world. So this sort of political things, we should analyze and understand this thing that India is not going to, and I'm not favoring any particular political party here. I'm just throwing some light on how things are going or how things work. Immigration has in fact been the most important thing regarding Silicon Valley. There are researches as well, like 55% of America's 1 billion plus startups have at least one immigrant founder, and it's quite natural in the sense when you leave your nation, when you leave your place for some other place, then you have that attitude. You are mentally, physically prepared for doing whatever it takes to make money, to become a big shot. And we see the same thing in our country, and like our people, right, when they migrate to UK or USA or other places, they will work everywhere. Means everywhere, when I say it, means they will not, they will leave that thing behind, things associated with shame or taboo. They will work at airports as well. They will be working on street. They will do everything because they have this attitude. They want to change their financial condition. They want to prove something. So immigrants, they have this thing, right? And most of them, particularly those who are leaving their nation for business or for career, so they have this thing. So this benefits various different, means they bring with them this energy, this drive that is been utilized by various different companies. And nowadays this benefits of this diversity is part of MBA curriculum as well. Moving on to next item, living machines. Researchers at the University of Vermont and Tufts University, they have built first ever living robots. Now, you won't believe this thing, but this is right. I reckon you guys to check out a video that is available online. So on your screen, you can see here, this is, do you know what this is? This is basically some stem cells from a frog embryo. And what scientists have done, they have incubated, cut and joined together some parts of the cells, and this is your computer, so if you change the shape here, this thing will also, so this is a living robot, and it's very difficult to digest and understand, but they are known as Cenobots, and in future they will be used for cleaning our arteries, or they can get rid of this plague. They can collect microplastic from ocean, and they can attack this radioactive contamination. They can help us get rid of this contamination. So scientists have claimed that they have created a life, and a frog has been turned into an entirely different organism, and this is a breakthrough. This will help us in future surgeries, for synthesizing body parts, for repairing dead tissues, organs, and so many other things. There are a few warnings as well, like we don't know how it will work in future, so things may slip from our hand. It may turn out to be a dangerous thing as well. Like every living being, these Cenobots, of course they cannot reproduce, but they can evolve, and they can create problems for us in future. They are assisted or AI designed, artificial intelligence designed, so they may get more sharper, and in future you never know. This sort of new Cenobots will be producing more Cenobots, and those Cenobots would be competing with human beings. So this is also possible. And then you have this various different countries. They can use it for negative purpose, for dominance and other things. So this is always something that is associated with new risks are always there, all right, but we have to find ways through which we can mitigate these risks. Right, dear friends, you have some news as well. I'll quickly take you through it. Home Minister has said that we can achieve this $5 trillion economic target. 72nd Army Day celebration took place, and Army Chief has said that Indian Army is always ready to tackle any threat. Terrorism is something that will not be tolerated at all. In Delhi, we have two things, right? First one is about political thing, and the second thing is about Nirbhaya gang rape case. Delhi High Court has declined to entertain the plea of one of the fourth death row convict. Russian Prime Minister has resigned. It is said that Russia wants to make some changes with its constitution. Iranian Foreign Minister is on India's visit, and External Affairs Minister in this Raisina dialogue has talked about India and China's relationship. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video. Enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.